How do you feel? You may have seen a diagram like this explaining 4 sections of emotions based on 2 axes, the level of energy and level of pleasantness. Starting at the top left, we have high energy, low pleasantness. These are usually emotions that would be classified under some variant of anger, but it also includes feelings of confusion, jealousy, and fear. To the right of that, we have high energy, high pleasantness. These are usually emotions that would be classified under excitement, but it also includes feelings of pride, curiosity, and surprise. At the bottom left, we have low energy, low pleasantness. These are usually emotions that would be classified under some variant of sadness, but it also includes feelings of boredom, apathy, and disgust. And to the right of that, we have low energy, high pleasantness. These are usually emotions that would be classified under some variant of joy, but it also includes feelings of peacefulness, safety, and compassion. Now I've gone ahead and included a 3x3 grid in each quadrant to show different words to describe emotions in each category. These are, of course, not the only words you can use to describe what you are feeling, but they do encompass quite a lot of them. I've also made a separate grid describing phrases one may use while feeling each emotion. Again, these aren't the only things you would say, but it may be more helpful if the words aren't quite clear enough for you. So now that we've talked a little about our emotions, what do we do with this information? Well, the bulk of this video is to actually explain this next diagram. This is a simplified version of emotional processing based on practices in cognitive behavioral therapy and dialectical behavioral therapy that I'm calling the feeling flowchart. So let's quickly explain CBT and DBT before getting started. Both of these behavioral therapy methods are used to facilitate behavioral change in individuals, but their methodology is a little different. CBT focuses on 3 main factors that affect one another: your thoughts, your feelings, and your behavior. And these thoughts, feelings, and behavior are all separated into yourself, others, and the future/past that build your core beliefs. The idea is each one of these parts affects one another. Your thoughts can inform your feelings, and your feelings can inform your behavior, and vice versa. Because that's the case, when you think about your thinking, it changes how you think, which then changes your behavior, which then changes your feelings, and so on. Here's an example. Let's say I have a thought that others dislike me or are judgmental towards me. If I believe that thought to be true, I may feel sad. And if I feel sad, I may self-isolate, which then may reinforce the thought that others don't like me because they have not reached out because I have self-isolated. You can easily see how the cycle feeds on itself. If I had stopped for a moment when I had that initial thought and took the time to acknowledge whether that thought reflected reality, I may have felt differently and chosen different behavior. Other notable differences are that CBT is focused in the short term and is normally used to assist anxiety, depression, OCD, and phobias, and usually utilizes individual therapy sessions. DBT, on the other hand, has 4 main pillars that it builds itself upon, those being mindfulness, distress tolerance, emotional regulation, and interpersonal effectiveness. Each one of these components becomes the basis by which you can accept reality and change accordingly. While CBT prioritizes your thought patterns, DBT is concerned with how you emotionally regulate and tolerate stressful situations. Thus, the skills it teaches you focus on interpersonal ability and mindfulness exercises. Other notable differences are that DBT is focused in the long term, is used for assisting borderline personality disorder, suicidal ideation, and trauma, and usually incorporates group therapy alongside individual therapy. So by combining these principles together, this allows us to form a well-rounded understanding of how to process our emotions. Not only will we think through and understand our thoughts, feelings, and behavior, but we will learn ways to better cope with them. The feeling flowchart works by following the arrows down. Along the middle are the major sections that happen in order, and the things to the left are ways to process each section in a productive way, and the right has ways to process them in unproductive ways. Starting at the top, we have input. This is a fancy way to say what happened. This is the event in reality. Who did it happen to? When did it happen? Where did it happen? For any event, whether that be an argument at work or a feud with a partner, we want to accept reality for what it is and approach the crisis without making the situation worse. The opposite of this is avoidance, either avoiding being in the presence of the triggering event or avoiding thinking about it. Not dealing with the input is not productive in the long term. Immediately following, we have the appraisal. This is the mind's process of what this event means. This is how we seek to fully understand the event. But this can lead to other issues. If we observe the event without passing judgment, we can deal with the incoming experience and expression. But if we incorrectly or fail to register what took place, we seek to create issues with how the event is to be processed. Moving downward, we have experience. This is what the event feels like. If you are mindful and have presence in the experience, you will feel an emotion and response. But if you are not present, you will dissociate and will detach from the experience. Usually, unpleasant events are labeled between 3 categories. Discordant, where you lack the understanding of the event or are uncomfortable with the emotional experience. Disattunement, or lack of attunement, where you think that the felt emotions are useless or abnormal. Or externalized. where you're aware of your bodily sensations, but attribute the feeling to something external. Recall the chart from the start of the video. If you experience a negative event, which word on the quadrant best represents what you are currently feeling? These three categories, if engaged properly, can be expressed with interpersonal expression. This is a way to make the negative experience something that can become a healthy discussion rather than something more harmful. If this isn't done, the feeling will then become suppressed. Lastly, we get to expression, which happens immediately following the experience. But it's easier to think of them as two sections. This is how the emotions are displayed in one's behavior. If you practice emotional regulation, your expression will be controlled and demonstrated in healthy ways. And if it is uncontrolled, you will act in accordance to your emotional experience without regard for how those actions will make the situation worse. If all the steps on the left are followed correctly, you will have managed your emotions appropriately. But if they are not, intrusive thoughts may reflect a sign of incomplete emotional processing, such as obsession, flashbacks, nightmares, and out-of-context emotional expression. So that is the feeling flowchart. What do you think of this? Is this helpful in understanding emotional processes? I'm excited to hear what you have to say. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.